This is something called the Rookery Trail. It's actually connected to that Grassy Waters wildlife nature area that I was at a week or two ago. But this is way down on the southern end of it, and it's past some other civilizations and stuff. Let's see if we see any wildlife out here. There's some wet areas, and already seen a couple of snakes out here, little harmless black snakes. So it'll be interesting to see what we come across out here. I think we're all gonna make it. If you're feeling stressed all the time and you're letting city living and suburban life and the chaos of living too close to other people start to crowd in on your mind, I know exactly what that feels like. And my remedy for me is to get out into these green spaces and go for a little walk. Doesn't work for everybody. I'm not saying it works for every single person out there, but it does work for me, and it might work for you. How's it going, man? You know, it's funny, when I talk to people, I ask them what's going on, and I always ask them a positive-oriented question, like, tell me the great thing that's happening in your life this week, or tell me something awesome you're going to do this weekend. Try to get people thinking positively automatically before they even start answering the question. And sometimes people still manage to answer the question with a negative. They tell you something's bumming them out at work, or something's going wrong with their mom or their dad or their kids. Some trouble or negative or something. And you know, one of the things that jumps to mind when I hear people talk like that is, you know, when these folks are on their deathbed, they're not going to be thinking about that. That's not going to be a problem that they look back on and say, this really ruined my life. I think when you're up against some kind of problem or trouble or something else going on negative, and you're experiencing some other kind of negative thing, I thought I saw alligator, but no. It's a regular log, not a Florida biting log. But when you're up against something negative and something bad happening to you, I think it's worthwhile to ask yourself, at the end of my life, am I going to look back on this and say this was the most important thing I was up against? Most likely not. I mean, if you're laying in bed right now dying of cancer or something, yeah, you'll be thinking this was major, but most of you, that's not what's bothering you. And in case you're wondering, yeah, it's a little overcast, might rain. I didn't bring any rain gear with me. If it starts sprinkling, so be it. But it's not the greatest for filming. I don't really like the way the videos come out when it's been overcast and diffused light like this. Sunshine looks so much better on camera, but there's nothing I can do about that. And again, it's not going to stop me from coming out. Feels like the sun just barely wants to come out. If the sun had just a little bit more encouragement, it might come out. So yeah, that's my encouragement to you is, if you're feeling kind of down in the dumps and mopey, also not an alligator. Fooled me. Yeah, think to yourself, this is not gonna matter when I'm at the end of my life and things are the end, and I'm looking back on my life and how I lived it. Is this problem that I'm having right now with my boss at work, or by the way, if my boss watches this, you're not a problem. But whatever is bugging you, it's not something you're going to look back on the rest of your life with and say, boy, that was my biggest problem. You're just not. Another thing I like to ask myself sometimes when things are looking kind of bummed out is literally ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And then work backwards from there. Okay, what's the second least worst thing that could happen? What's the third worst thing that could happen? Eventually you're going to get to the point where you realize most likely thing to happen is not that terrible. Whatever the problem is, you're going to bite off a chunk of it and fix one little piece of it, and then bite off another little chunk and fix another little piece of it, and then some of it's going to fix itself. And then you're going to bite off the rest of it, fix it, and it's going to be done. It's going to be behind you. Wish you guys could smell what it's like out here on this sandy little double track trail here with the swampy slough right to my left here. Palm trees and pine trees. Mossy oak all around. Whew, smells great. Oh, and the sun is trying to come out. Come on out, sun. So, you know, control the controllable. Do what you can do. Look for a tiny little bite that you can bite off of the problem and fix it. Go in the right direction. Start heading in the right direction. Tell yourself this is not the worst thing that's ever going to happen in my life. It's not the worst thing I've already overcome, gotten past. See how much of the problem actually fixes itself. That happens so many times, I can't even tell you. I see a big problem or something, and before I even get a chance to think about what to do about it, it fixes itself. What was the point of worrying about it? You know, Lori from Lori's Soul Circle, great YouTube channel. Thought I heard a bicycle coming. Nope, just the wind. Lori said, you know, it'd be good to point out things like, you know, the health benefits of getting out and walking, and the vitamin D you get from the sunshine, and the stress relief that comes from green spaces, the color green, stuff like that. You know, that's all, I'm sure, 100% true, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, and I don't really try to focus too much on the specific physiological fixes that comes from nature. I don't always know the details of what reduces serotonin and what creates oxytocin, and I don't know the details. I'm not that smart of a man. There are plenty of YouTube channels out there that would explain to you, oh, those are so pretty, you guys, these little purple flowers. Let me show you. Oop. Hope those come through with the sunshine. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there that will explain to you the physiological fix that happens in nature, and I encourage you to seek those out and go look for them, but all I can tell you is personal experience. I just know getting out in green spaces, getting out in nature where I can't hear the highways anymore, can't hear the traffic, I don't hear kids yelling, people with their table saws in the garage working and leaf blowers going. I don't hear any of that out here. I hear birds, hear the wind blowing in the trees. Every once in a while I'll hear something splash down there, but I don't hear any of that nonsense, none of that city nonsense. It's funny, you know, nature just requires you to show up. It doesn't require you to have a degree in biological, physiological fixes, etc. It doesn't require you to come out and do anything. You don't have to put up a tent, you don't have to camp, you don't have to make a fire, you don't have to cook your food and eat if you don't want to. Just show up. Just show up and see what happens. And don't be surprised when it fixes you right up. I guess another thing to remember is when you're feeling down, just remember that you're not alone. You know, you're not the only one that gets down sometimes. You get down to the dumps a little bit. You gotta say to yourself, you know what? I've got extra spare energy. I'm stressed out, I'm feeling bummed, I've got some spare energy. Why don't I try and do 10 push-ups? Maybe I'll try and do 20 sit-ups. Maybe I'll try and burn off some of this energy and go for a little walk. And see how you feel after that. Might be surprised. Might be all you needed. Hey, don't forget, you got this. We're all gonna make it. Everything's gonna be cool. I'll see you in the next video.